Peace, peace, family. Welcome back to Father and Sunday. Father and Sunday is a place where we show how father and sons can hold sacred space for one another, host difficult, funny, and enlightening conversations, and really just bring you guys into our sacred shared space. We like to start off each episode with a prayer, so you please start us off.
Yeah, I do. So gratitude is always just really feeling called to name and thank, have whole gratitude for the great creator, the one who's not created, but the one, uh, the sustainer, the absolute, the eternal. We give thanks for life and all of our relatives that we share in this life, those two-legged, no-legged, one-legged, celestial beings, all life, and those ancestors that have been keepers of the light in all that fights to restore balance and harmony and bring peace into our lives. We hold gratitude for you. We hold gratitude for all of you who are here with us today and those who will be joining us in the future as well. You're welcome here. Ashe hope. Ashe I hope. May it be so.
May it be so. And speaking of gratitude, I actually want to grab something real quick, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah. And two, like in the little card under it too, it has like an explanation. But yeah, you'll start there and then I want to say a little something on gratitude as well. If
Okay,
you want to
guys.
share this. It was a really beautiful moment.
So we had a gift very graciously brought to us by our dear friend and family, and we wanted to show you guys. This is sage mixed with a little bit of lavender, mixed with some crystals, some rose petals too. And just hearing you say that prayer, I just wanted to give gratitude for this beautiful and thoughtful gift. And I wanted to even light it if possible, so we could cleanse the space, maybe a little corner.
Yeah. You want to
And
do a corner of one of them?
yeah, you could say more definitely on about it.
Yeah. It's a sacred sage and all of these other very indigenous healing practices to clear space. And we want to give thanks too for this was purchased at Peace, Love, and Wisdom. Yeah, I don't know if you all can see that there. Peace, Love, and Wisdom. It's a little website, but it has white sage, rosemary, lavender, rose petals, rose quartz moon, a smudge wand as well. Smudging is when you is what you're doing when you burn, and then sometimes they'll use sacred feathers to move it around and sort of continue to cleanse the air in a very simplistic explanation. But it's used as an ancient ritual to cleanse away negative energy and replace it with positive energy,
Mhm.
healing open heart, joy, abundance, love, harmony. We set intentions and manifest your dreams. A little written word on the back there. It's probably coming up backwards for you all, but that's there. And in a line with that, sort of off script. And I just feel very called to speak with this is that on the 21st, um, I just had a deep seated moment of gratitude and relief because between 5 and 6 a.m., a long awaited journey
Mm,
of getting my uh, finding out whether or not I'll have my internship placement, which we're all applying for various internships as clinical psychologists in the training. And uh, one of three that was really blessed to get my last and final internship in a university in San Diego. And it just, you were bear witness to that. And, you go, it's just a long process. But but really what was made it so special for me and what like reminded me of this journey was that it was on my father, your grandfather's,
Mm,
uh, Michael Salam, his birthday, and that was on the 21st.
mm,
And on that day, he turned 76 years old. And I was born in 1976, in 76. And this is really a culmination. This is a coveted thing for people who are wanting to become psychologists. And it's a marker because I'll be within this intermediate family, the first doctor to come and step forth and all that that represents. But not just that, it's in psychology, it's in health and wellness. And, um, you know, my father, my parents, one from the Midwest, as we had said in other episodes, and my
mhm,
father really establishing the Salam name, meaning peace, came from Memphis. His sister followed him, his brothers followed him to California, to the West. And he came from they, I mean, dirt poor. If we're blessed enough, we'll have him on and he can share his story
man.
in the South and, accepted Islam and looked at what he wanted, envisioned for the future of his family and for himself, and has really embodied that. And in 76, I was born and I was the first to inherit the name and the mission
Mm,
of Salam. And my
mhm,
name, Sharif Nasheed Salam. Sharif meaning honest, Nasheed meaning honorable, noble, Salam meaning peace.
mm,
My parents said, if there's anything I do in this life, live up to my name, but really pushing this. And, you know, I really felt when I said relief, a moment like, whoa, you know, this whole journey to get to this point, it was like a baton
mm,
that I was able to hold and like say, yes, I've ran a distance
yeah,
and taken it to a point of ascension and, continue to prepare for this seventh generation of healing
mm,
that we're all participating in to get our family to a place of health and wellness
mhm,
and abundant spiritual life and abundant peace and love.
yes.
And so it happening on his birthday, which I couldn't have
You
planned.
can't find it.
You can't,
You
you
can't
just
find it.
don't know. And, it being his 76th birthday, which to me was very personal because I was born in 76,
Mm,
just it all, and I'm running through this fast, but it
yeah,
all just really was a very significant moment. And I felt very blessed to be able to share that with you and you be here and also us having our moments, which we can, again, we'll visit and have a different episode
yeah,
about that transition. But here I am in the middle as a father and then with my father and feeling this incredible wave and ebb and flow of energy and promise and hope and life.
mm,
It just, man, I hold so much gratitude. So,
deep gratitude.
sending much love on this Father and Sundays to Michael Salam, Grandpa Michael.
Gramps.
Dad, love you very much. We are grateful for your life and for what you've established, and we hope to continue to carry that on.
Yeah, carry that legacy.
Yeah. Salam strong all day.
Salam strong.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have a very I honestly I don't even know if words can describe what we're about to dive into for this episode.
Mm,
Um, but very simply put, facing death,
mm,
near death experiences that we've both had.
yeah.
And I think it would be good if you could give a little intro into what kind of inspired this,
Hmm.
because I know you carried this topic and it's been something that you've been wanting to talk about.
Yeah. Um, well, I'm really interested in a lot of my training as well is in early life experiences and the way that they shape how you see the world. And I know that there is a lot of um, trauma, challenge, death that is surrounding. And when the thing, the spirit, the energy that's taking life away from us
Mm,
instead of giving us life.
mm,
And there's a way to see death too, as well, where it is a part of life, because the food that we eat
mhm.
that is dead really is alive with energy, but it sustains our life,
Yes,
and there's a cycle
there is.
that exists. So not I don't know if we hold death in a morbid way, but really that's all a part of it is like how does our understanding of this
Mm,
shape our life, experiences, and the way that we see the world.
mhm.
And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up. And this is something that's explored within schema therapeutic frameworks as well. Schema therapeutics
Could
frameworks.
you
So
give some more info for those out there who don't know what schema is?
yeah, so essentially it's the mind mapping. It's the way that sort of the narratives, the conceptualizations that we prescribe to life, our understanding, that what that helps us with our understanding the way that we see the world. And so part of the therapy is to understand what are your schemas. And then are these schemas that essentially are things that are going to support your health and wellness, or
Mm,
is it something that's going to, that's taken away from your health and wellness?
mm,
And then based on that, what are ways to sort of rethink, reframe those schemas and celebrate the life-giving ones to increase your health and wellness. And that's just a very bare bones stripped down understanding of what that is.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to dive into it and to hear more about how that can give better explanation to our experiences, how we can weave those topics together.
Yeah.
So, should I start off or do you want to start it off?
What do you feel like if you drop in, like what do you feel?
I'll start it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I meant, before you do, I also meant to say, like, as an example, just to kind of throw in, there's a vulnerability to harm schema that we may hold. And this is when you feel like the world is dangerous or something bad could happen at any moment.
Hmm.
There's like an abandonment schema. Sometimes trauma makes people feel alone or that no one will be there for them.
Hmm.
And then there's an emotional deprivation schema that can make people feel like they have to deal with everything alone because they didn't expect or don't expect others to understand how to support them. And this
Hmm.
is just a small little bit of the way you kind of have these schemas and how you conceptualize them and then how they impact your life and your life experiences.
Hmm.
But at any rate, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll just start off with a little summary of what my experience was. I'm not exactly sure. It was going into fifth grade, fourth grade, summer going into fifth grade. And we were at a birthday party. I remember I was going to say I'm not really exactly sure of the date, but
It was on my birthday.
it was on your birthday.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So your birthday. And I remember eating cake. And at first, everything was okay, normal. And then all of a sudden, the cake went from going into my mouth to like hitting parts of my face. And I personally don't remember thinking anything is wrong, surprisingly. I think
Hmm.
it just felt normal. But it caught your eye
Hmm.
and you rushed me to the hospital, correct?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, your motor skills, fine and gross, were just rapidly
Yeah.
deteriorating. And you had had a cold. So, like that previous day,
Mhm.
we were sitting in front of the TV. I was sitting with you and, playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out or something
Oh,
on
yeah.
Nintendo. And then, I'm thinking, you have a cold. Yeah, I don't know if I was under the weather as well, but
Mm.
then it just progressed. And I said, this is something more than just a cold.
Yeah. And yeah, my fine motor skills started deteriorating heavily. it started to become difficult for me to talk. I was slurring my words and as well as walk even as well too. So it got to the point where I needed to be wheeled around in a wheelchair to even get around. And that process was, or not process, but what I ended up getting diagnosed with was ADEM.
Mhm.
And I'm not actually too, I don't feel comfortable naming exactly what ADEM is, but I know that it definitely is something where a virus crosses the blood-brain barrier,
Mhm.
and that has heavy impacts on how you operate, how your motor functions, how you operate.
Yeah, so essentially it's like acute demyelination encephalitis,
Okay.
and it's when a rare autoimmune dysfunction happens that affects the brain and the spinal cord. And
Mm,
so it's triggered by someone could have a common cold, and then that cold crosses the blood brain barrier
yeah.
and it sends the complete body out of balance. And the body essentially almost starts attacking itself
Mm,
in chaos trying to solve this problem.
yeah. And
Yeah.
to be honest, while it was a near death situation for me, I feel like my memories looking back on it are really positive
Mm.
in terms of the family that I was or had, the support that I had when I was in there. That's the memories that I look back on when I think about the experience. I remember you being there, my mother being there, a whole bunch of support from your brothers, my uncles coming in. I still have this huge teddy bear in my room to this day that was brought to me by my cousins. And I keep it as a reminder for what I went through. But I know while it may have had positive memories, while there were definitely some negatives, but overall positive memories for me, I know that was a different experience for how you were feeling when it first happened. So, is there anything that you could say about your perspective on when yeah, just my motor skills started heavily deteriorating?
Yeah, I mean, you prior to the this chapter in your life, you're vibrant, you love life, you're horseback riding, golfing, climbing trees, jumping off walls, riding bikes at super speeds, going down hills.
That's a story for another
Yeah,
time.
and just everywhere all the time. And here you have it where you can barely function. And I remember laying in the hospital bed with needles like all in your arm and
Mm,
IVs, and they're pumping in the medication in your body, and everyone's sort of trying to figure out. And within the chaos of that, I remember a grounding moment is just looking at you, and you have this light in your eye. And there's times you were slurring, like you couldn't even really understand clearly the words you were speaking,
uh,
but there was a light in you. And then watching your determination
mm,
and your like accepting of the challenge of learning how to walk again, talk again, um, that resilience, it just was, despite what the outcome was, the fight for life in
mm,
you was inspiring. The fight for life,
mm,
the wanting of life, and then the joy in the fight, for
mm,
every moment of that we might say a small accomplishment, it was grand.
mm,
And that's every moment of accomplishment and growth should be held, I think, as grand. It's
mm,
beautiful because there's no final destination in this. It's continued growth.
continuous.
And that was sort of like a algorithm around, you know, that was being represented that you were exhibiting during this time. It was just very inspiring, and
And I think honestly, that's why when I said I don't hold any bad memories around it, I think I don't know if it could be trauma, honestly, and my body had forgotten about the pain that it went through.
mhm.
But I think, like I said earlier, you guys being so supportive and celebrating those small wins, like that's what I remember that energy is what I remember about the experience.
Mm,
And looking back on it now, it honestly just feels like a dream.
mm,
It it was something that was so out of my reality, so out of what I thought could even happen to me. It was a shock, honestly.
mm.
And
Ooh, say more about that. Like, it was out of your like, it was
I mean,
you
cause
didn't even see something like this, and is
like,
that are you speaking, like, retrospectively as you think about it, or were you feeling that at the time?
yeah, honestly, I can't remember too much about exactly what I was thinking at the time, but retrospectively, looking back on it now, like you said, I mean, I was moving around, I was running, I was able to play with my friends, get up to use the bathroom on my own, do all these, just move my body. And it went from that to boom,
Mm,
I can't do any of it.
mm,
And honestly, that's a big motivating factor for why I celebrate my body so heavily now in this time because I recognize what it's like to how quickly it can be taken away from you.
mm,
And I just
mm,
feel deep, deep, deep gratitude for my ability to wiggle my fingers and move my toes.
mm, mm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
when you think about, like, your daily practices now, and you holding that, like, what are some of the daily practices, that you do give thanks for, and how do you use gratitude to fuel your health and your wellness?
Mm. For the first one, daily practices that I always incorporate are some form of movement. My body does so much for me, and that vitality, that movement, trying to stay away from stagnation. While there is times for my body to rest, stretching, running, walking even, I just make sure that not a day goes by where I didn't utilize its capabilities.
Mm,
I just like the body's amazing. The fact that we can cut it, it can heal itself,
yeah.
it can sweat to cool itself off.
Mhm,
I mean, I feel like people kind of neglect that aspect of it a lot, at least in circles that I'm around. But when I really think about it, I'm like, this is some amazing technology, some
mhm,
real ancient, powerful technology. So I don't know if there's one specific thing that I do, but I just make sure a day doesn't go by where I didn't utilize it
mm,
to how it was divinely meant to be utilized.
mm, mm. Yeah, I see you, like, with the way that you're eating, you're exercising, and the commitment to that, and, like, a lot of there can be some people out there, especially athletes, who are exercising because they wanna condition their body to be, like, a certain way,
Mhm.
and then you have, like, um people who want to just exercise because they want to look fit,
Yeah,
but I feel like, one, the body's always changing and
always.
growing and reshaping,
Mm,
and when you get to a point to where you're able to just be like, I actually really love my body and I love myself, and I'm doing this exercise, I'm eating this way because I'm building a relationship with myself, a feeling with myself, of vitality, and I'm not necessarily trying to get to where, for example, me now, where I was when I was like 25, but I want to be able to, like, jog lightly or run, like, and
I think
stretch and,
it's
like,
like your body, it helps you live life with pleasure.
mm,
If you look forward to getting out of bed, you don't mind bending down to pick up, put on your shoes. You don't mind, uh, carrying the trash out.
mhm,
That it makes life more enjoyable and more pleasurable.
mm,
And honoring your body to allow it to keep making those things feel easy is really at least my goal.
yeah.
You know?
And that's your land.
Yeah,
This I mean, it's no different than when we die, we buried, we go back to the earth, we're from the earth. Like,
yeah,
this is your land,
Mm.
and connecting with that in a very indigenous, wisdom way is no different than externalizing that same care and love for the world around you. So if you're starting here, loving yourself, taking care of it, it's amazing the alchemy that can
Mm.
happen
Man.
if you're having anxiety, depression, so on and so
Mm.
forth, just by waking up. And like one of my your uncles, my brother Josue, he used to say when he woke up in the morning, I'm alive, I'm alive, just like
Yeah.
each day and like feeling your hands and being grateful for your senses. That's a
And really
magical
seeing it,
thing.
because this is gonna sound the same, like photonically speaking words, but there's a difference between like really seeing yourself and then seeing yourself.
Yeah,
Like really taking time looking at, your fingerprints, how they are shaped,
yeah,
feeling what it feels like to, even walk.
yeah.
Something as simple as walking. How many people have mastered that art of feeling power with every step that they
Mhm,
take?
mhm, mhm.
So that really resonates with you,
I feel that. I mean,
definitely.
there was a time where I, was having just really bad, depression,
Mm,
and it just was sinking into me, and in therapy, I was sitting there and, as also as part of obtaining your doctorate, you have to do a certain amount of hours of therapy. And you know, finding that right clinician is crucial, getting that support. I'm all for it. But, one of the things is, he's like, just walk the lake. And I
uh,
had spent so much of my life like training my body just to do things
yeah.
and to like, play sports and to serve me, but
Mhm.
not really develop a collaborative, cohesive relationship with it, that I literally, when it came time to just having to walk, I didn't know how to walk.
You feel me?
And I think
You
about
feel
a
me?
baby, the wisdom's like, they may fall, they may wobble, but they're just grateful to be like on their feet and
Man,
like, but I had to learn how to walk again, And that began with just sitting in my body, having that mindfulness, being able to feel what it feels like. Am I hungry or am I eating just because I need to eat?
man,
You
that
know?
communication, and that's what's also so beautiful. The more you tune into your body, the more you celebrate it. Because really, when you work out, it's you connecting with your body.
Yeah,
It's learning how to use certain muscles again that you may have not used before. And in tune with connecting with that body, your body can communicate back to you.
absolutely.
It really can.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful. Like you said, am I hungry or is this my brain? It's an ongoing relationship
Hmm.
that is not really taught growing up, I
No,
feel.
it's not. We've been disconnected.
Disconnected.
Part of the colonization process is to make us think we were separate from nature and not a part of it.
Mm,
And so, like, once we reconnect with nature again, that's one of the first lessons we learn is,
mm,
that how to listen, how to hear, how to relate with yourself, with your body. Everything about nature is about also helping to support us to nurture us, to
mm.
help us to be the best that we can. So, um, yeah, man, I mean, I think I feel like we should call this part one
I think we should
and then have maybe our next episode be
for
part
part two.
two.
Yeah,
And then, we'll continue on and we could talk more about the experiences that I was holding, that I've held, and near
definitely.
death experiences, some of the things that came out of that, the alchemy within that.
Yes,
And then even talk about like from a schema therapeutic space, excuse me, I could share a little bit more about what are some things that you can do to help support yourself when you're holding fear and yeah, like when you're holding fear. So, what do you think about that?
I think that sounds perfect to me. Let's go with the flow. And
Okay.
yeah,
Well, hey, gratitude for you all for joining us, being here today. Man, on this journey, please hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you to all the people who've been subscribing and been watching and hitting like
and
button,
all the
the comments.
yeah, but not even just on YouTube, like the people who have been hitting us on the side and really showing love. Deep gratitude to you
Man.
guys. It motivates us to keep going and keep sharing our stories.
All right. Until
Yeah.
next time.
Until next time, guys.
Peace.
Peace.